you want to see a scary movie?
Very quiet. I need to show this first.
Get a little photo. Do you want me looking at the camera or are you? You've got a bit of a radio voice as well, haven't you?
Hi kids! Steve Parker here. Fat Boy Trims Incorporated.
Basically, the gym whole thing came around was about, I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago. I started coaching in a gym in Sunderland at Marine House, and I opened my own MMA club then. I was coaching there for a little while, but it was a shared place, you know, where other people were using it as well. And I didn't like the setup, I didn't like the layout. It was a small space, and I like to run things my own way, you know what I mean? Like, so what happened was I ended up taking a coaching spot at Gracie Barha in Durham. I coached there for a little while, and then I had some big fights coming up, so I left to train full time again in MMA, and I was fighting for Bellator. I fought there for a while, and then the lockdown came, and then what happened was I ended up, after the lockdown, I lost my contract with Bellator, and I just invested some money in myself. I moved away to Norway for a while. I started working in Norway, and I hadn't trained actually anything at all, Jiujitsu or MMA or any kind of physical sport. I moved away to Norway, and at the end of the time I was out there, I took one of the work vans and I drove to another city, and I ended up doing a Jiu-Jitsu class at a random gym. It really reignited the fire inside of us to want to just do Jiu-Jitsu, you know. Like I've always really loved the Jiu-Jitsu aspect towards martial arts. Like even when I was fighting in MMA, I would win most of my fights by using Jiu-Jitsu, and back then I used to think I was a good grappler, and my grappling wasn't. I was winning fights, but like to me, I didn't realise. I knew as little as I knew, and I actually thought I was a good grappler then. So when I came back, all I wanted to do was just do Jiu-Jitsu full time. So the name Sunderland Strangler come into play. It's a funny question actually. So there used to be an old murderer, like back in the day in Sunderland, who would do like unspeakable acts to boys and stuff like that, and he would choke these kids, and he was like a notorious killer from I think it was the 80s, maybe the 70s or the 80s, and basically like I would be winning my fights, and I'd be winning by submission, and I would be strangling people, you know. And one of my friends called us at one time, and it kind of stuck, and we just went with that. It was nothing to do about that, and obviously that's terrible what that guy did, but I just thought it was cool, it was quirky, and it worked, you know. He was also a rapist. Not saying I'm a rapist, I'm saying he was also a rapist like I am. I'm just saying that he was. I ended up getting a job offer to coach in a gym locally, so I started coaching there. I coached there for a year and a half, and then for me I just decided it was time to just go my own way and bring my own school together, you know. I felt like it was the right time, everything worked in the way it should have, and I just took over a little unit. I started coaching in the unit that I got, and we ended up getting a few members and a few more, and then the vibe was awesome, everyone was loving it, and then people started to get good, so a couple of lads started competing, and then from then it was fate really. I've been saying to Stevie at Fat Boy Trims that I wanted another unit, and he was away travelling in Thailand, and when he was away in Thailand he sent us a link saying this properties just came up, check it out. I checked it out, the money was good, everything was right, so I contacted them, booked the viewing, and then I found out it was also my friend's dad who owned the building, so I contacted him, and then basically they were really keen on what I was wanting to do and wanting to build for the community, and I told them a lot about the ideas I had, and they were pretty like stoked on what I was talking about and what I wanted to do, so they gave me the first choice, because basically there was other people in for it as well, so I ended up being fortunate enough to get the lease on it, and then obviously everything we got in, moved our mats in. I put money into it, bought more mats and more mats again, and more equipment, and then 3 weeks in, look where we are now. We've got 3-4 times the amount of members we had originally. Our beginners course is off and running, taking flying start, and our reputation's already starting to precede itself, you know what I mean? So we're doing a pretty good job, and as I say, this is a mainstay gym in the northeast now, you know. We've got a reputation already. So I ended up getting into fighting, so it was mad really, to be honest, because no one in my family had ever fought before. There was no one who ever really did any kind of sports in my family, but I was like a little tearaway. Like I would just not go to school. I stayed at my friend's dad's house most of my school years, other than the fact if I was in school I was kicked out. And I was just on the wrong path, and I had loads of personal issues that I was dealing with at home that I really struggled with. And for me, I'd always loved the idea of being a boxer. I don't know what it was. I used to have photos of Muhammad Ali on my bedroom wall, and his tiny little nipples were out and that. He's got the small, if you look this up, he's got the smallest nipples known to man. Anyway, and I just aspired. I always wanted. I had a little T.Y. McGurk punch bag hanging up in my bedroom in the loft, and I don't know what it was. I just always wanted to be a boxer. I just had ambitions, and I didn't know what it was that drawn us to want to be that. I just seen it and I just pictured myself being the one in there with under the bright lights, and so I did that, and it was something that I did, and I excelled at, and then I won the national title, and then I was winning fights all the time, and I was travelling, and I was doing really well for myself, and it felt like it was just finally something that I did that was just taking me attention and all the negatives in my life, and I was able to channel them into something positive, and I felt like finally once there was something that I could put my own stamp on and be my own person, and I loved it. And then I went from being 12 till I was about 17-year-old doing that, but I wasn't really bothered about boxing anymore. I was just doing it to keep fit. It was all I ever really knew at that point. And I was like loads of cool guys. Ben, who used to do live action role play in the forest, and he was like get choked to sleep all the time, and it was just crazy, and I just loved it. And I just went back to MMA. I just thought I'll go back and I'll help the lads with their fights and try and be a team player and just do something to keep us on the right track, but also to help people. And then I needed money, so I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fight again. I'm going to try and get myself some G's, you know what I mean? So, and then I went to Bellator and then fighting in Milan, and they flew us to New York to do a press conference with Fedor and Michael Chandler and Benson Henderson and Pitbull and Ryan Bader, loads of people like that. So for me it was a surreal experience, and then I just wanted to show people how good I was. So every time I beat somebody, it was like a little bit of validation and say like, I am what I say I am, you know. So that was it. That was the motivation for me. My blue belt when I got back from Norway, then I got my purple belt, and then I went through there. I think I got my blue belt just before Norway actually. I had a year off, so it might have been maybe just before that. But then I got my purple belt, and then I got my brown belt, and then it just snowballed from there. I just fell in love with it again, and then it just consumed my life, and just this is where I am, and this is what I'm stuck with for the rest of my life, because every day is, especially in here, every day is Christmas for me. So the name Exile Jiu-Jitsu, the origins of that is basically like, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, for me, I've always felt like I'd never really fit in anywhere where, other than Northeast Jiu-Jitsu, I feel like every other gym I've either trained at or coached at, I've never fully been understood, and I've never felt like I've actually ever fit in there or really belonged. So for me, it's kind of like always been like I'd always been made exile from where I'd been. I always felt like, I don't know what it was, I just feel like I'm a certain kind of person, and you either like feed off my energy and want to be part of it and like get hyped and like that side of it, or you take a different approach, and it's received in a negative way. And for me, like I don't know why, it's just I feel vibes, and maybe I'm a lunatic. I probably am, I definitely am, but I just feel like I never really fit in anywhere, and so I'd always been made to feel like I wasn't fully accepted, and so I always felt, in a sense, I'd always been made to feel exiled, or had been exiled. So that's where the name Exile Jiu-Jitsu came around, you know. I just feel like that's my personal way I've always been made to feel. Whether that was the case or not, that was just my personal feelings and the way I felt. So that was the origins of the name Exile Jiu-Jitsu. So when am I getting my black belt? Well, that's there, Mr. Younger. Obviously, Ellis knows my mindset towards it, you know. I mean, I've been signed on the dotted line to fight some amazing black belts even when I was a purple belt, and that's down to Ellis and Darrow O'Connell. Like, Ellis knows my love and appreciation for him. There's no rush on it, you know. As I say, it could be this year, it could be next year, it could be in 10 years. That's not going to change my opinion. It's not going to... I'm fighting black belts now, so for me, the belt's just a belt colour. For me, what's more important is fighting black belts, and the fact that black belts will accept to fight me. When I was a purple belt, Tom Barry was a black belt, and he's one of the really good black belts in the UK. You know, he's a really high level guy, dangerous on the legs, hard work all round, really heavy top pressure, great passing, And if someone on the level of him was willing to fight as when I was a purple belt, what does that say about me? So in my mindset, I am a black belt. In my mindset, I'm a black belt, and I have been a black belt for a while. Whether I am or not, that's fair enough. That's Dan Ellis. That's out of my control. But it doesn't matter to me. If I get it, amazing. Yeah, will I cry? Probably. You know, I've had a little cry every time I've been promoted. Even when I was a white belt and I got my blue belt, that's a special thing for me, because I know every time I have had a promotion, I've fully earned it. There's no one that can discredit my work and the people I've fought and what I've done. I've earned it every single time. Let's give me that. I'm not bothered about it. I fucking want it. If I would train MMA again, yeah, of course I would. Like, sparring's fun, you know. Like, as I say, like, I sparred with Merlin not even that long back. Had a bit of fun with him. Had a little mess around with the gloves on with him. I'll always still have that feeling of wanting that. But for me, it's weighing up the pros and cons. Like, obviously fighting MMA is cool and it looks good, but for me it's got to be for the right reasons. Most people fight even when they're not wanting to fight, just to have the bravado and the kind of, you know what I mean, they want to look like the fighter. Whereas I've fought and I've proven my worth, and I've fought some real tough fights, dangerous fights, and as I say, it all comes down to what's the reason why. If it was, say, somebody I've looked up to for a lot of years, if it was the right fight, yeah, I would do it again. It would all come down to weight, it would all come down to money, it would all come down to, there's so many variables in what it would come to, because not in the fight alone. The fight's the easy part, and everyone says that, but it's hard work to deal with, in a sense of like emotions and physically and mentally. That's the big strain on you. And even to make bantamweight now would be horrendous, never mind what I used to be walking around at. I used to have like bitch tits and cellulite and that, and then I would make 61 kilos and I've cut more weight than Yoel Romero, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, when I fought Nathan Grayson, I cut a tremendous amount of weight, and it really does, definitely will have took years off my life. And so for me, it would all mostly come down to being the right name or right organisation. If it was just to have a fight for money, I would say nobody should do it. It's cool making money if you're getting paid well, awesome. But in the same sense, if you're just doing it for money, you'll see time and time again people will do that and their heart's not in it and they'll quit or they'll break easy. I feel like you have to 100% want to fight to do it, and I feel like at the minute for me I don't. I get the same rush and the same buzz and the same validation every time I beat somebody good in Jiu-Jitsu or higher belt in Jiu-Jitsu than me. If I'm beating them or if I'm finishing them, I get the same rush. I still get to be the showman that I love to be. I still get to put it all on the line and prove me worth, and other than that, it's like, I wouldn't want to fight for the wrong reasons. If I want to fight 100% solely because I really want to fight. I get that itch back, you know, and as I say, Jiu-Jitsu does that for me, and it fills that void, you know what I mean? So for me, that would what it would come down to. My dream fight and why in Jiu-Jitsu would be Sean O'Malley. I would love a Jiu-Jitsu match against Sean O'Malley. I think that would be super fun. I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility, other than the fact that he's UFC champion, but as you see, he's fought on Chael Sonnen's organisations a couple of times. Brad Pickett, UK based. If I would have a Jiu-Jitsu match against Brad Pickett, that would be a dream come true. But I've actually told Brad Pickett this before.
Shout him out.
I've actually told Brad Pickett this before. Actually, when I fought Nathan Grayson, he was in his corner, and Brad Pickett's been a pioneer, especially for the lighter weight guys in the UK. You know, in pro MMA, he was always the guy. You know what I mean? He was the lighter weight division guy. He was, and he still is the man. You know, he's awesome. And when I fought Nathan Grayson, he was in his corner, and I remember looking up at the cage when Nathan Grayson was there, and Brad Pickett was there, and I remember just nodding at him, and he winked back at us, and I just thought, you know what, he's the man. So if I ever got an opportunity, I know this is not me like trying to call anybody out or anything like that. This is just a sheer respect thing and for fun. If I ever got the opportunity to compete against someone like that on Polaris or any of the bigger shows, Grapple Fest or whatever, that would be a dream come true for me.
Northern Submission Series.
Northern Submission Series, big plug to the show there. Let's go. But anybody like that, I'll be a true great. So Northern Submission Series came about. It was funny. I was actually wanting to start the show myself with another friend of mine, Michael, and we were going to start a little while back, and then different things happened, and then it was there, we're going to do this, and then it never really materialised. And then I was talking about it in the gym one day, and then Ant said he would be up for starting a show with us, you know. We took a risk, we did it at the Roto Hotel, and the first one was a massive success, and then straight from there it snowballed, you know what I mean. We went straight to the point, took it bigger and bigger, and then Then I've just took it to Wolves there. We went to Wolverhampton, did the first one there. And for me, I just love doing it, you know. I love matching the fights, I love studying the guys, and I love just seeing what people think of it when they do compete, because that's a buzz for me, you know what I mean? When I think about the event right now, the Submission Series, the term I used for what I had the vision of it as is I wanted to be the Super Bowl of Jiu-Jitsu. That's what I want Northern Submission Series to be. I want it to be you, razzmatazz, fire, lesbian fire breathers, naked, you know, all that kind of shit. I want to take it showtime, you know what I mean? I want to make it something special, I want to make it unbelievable. That's what I want. That's my, let's say, aspirations for the show. That's what I want. I want to take it from where the domestic scene is. I want to blow that up. I want to go the complete other way. You run things that way. We want to be the showtime. You know, we want to be the everything else that comes with it as well. Next plans for the 5 to 10 year. Next 5 to 10 years. In real opinions, not sound like a daydreamer, I want to have one of the biggest and most successful BJJ gyms in the UK within the next 5 to 10 years. Next 5 to 10 years, I want to be in a much better position. I want to have a team of people that are really pushing what we're doing, you know, like working hard and have a solid fan base and working, you know. I want to build the gym up all the way. I want to be a household name in Jiu-Jitsu for myself. I want to have a black belt. I want to have multiple titles, more than I've already got. I want to fight on all the biggest shows. I want to travel. I want to teach seminars in other countries, which I've already got opportunities to do. I want to fight on Polaris again. I just want to keep going the way I'm going, keep the same trajectory. I want to keep building my name and just establishing my brand, you know what I mean? I feel like I want to have a big podcast. I feel like I've got an opportunity there. I feel like we can do something like that. I feel like I really want to blow our YouTube up. I want to keep working with progress. I just want to have a future in this sport and this game, and I want the same for everybody else. Everybody who's around us, I want to see them on top. In 5 to 10 years, I want our purple belts to be brown and black belts. I want to have our, you know what I mean? I want to have our blue belts to be purple brown belts, or white belts to be the same. Progression, that's all I want. I'm not bothered where I is. There's no end goal. Jiu-Jitsu for me, as I've said time and time again, there isn't an end goal. You can't, you know, everyone wants perfection. You're never going to get perfection. Striving for perfection is one thing, but obtaining it's another. You're never going to have that. Even the best people that ever do it are not perfect. See my kids do well, you know. I would love to see my kids competing in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not really bothered about them fighting in MMA or anything like that. Like, to be honest, it's quite the opposite. It's a lonely life, and it is ups and downs. I want to drive a Lamborghini. I want to have a Lamborghini one day. I want to have all the things I've always wanted, you know, and I believe I will have, you know. I just think hard work pays off, and there's nobody who works harder than me, nobody who's more dedicated than me to their craft, or to giving everyone back as much as I'm dedicated to that, because anybody who knows me knows that I give everyone 100%. I mean, if you think about how many days I've had off in the last 6 months, you know what I mean? How many hours I've worked in the last 6 months? I mean, look at the last few days. I'm in here 5:30 in the morning. Some nights, one night I'm not getting in until 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. And that's not a one-off thing. That's a regular occurrence. I teach the morning classes, 6 a.m. So I'm here at 5, half 5. Some of them nights, especially now with the beginners course, it's 10 o'clock. So that's half 5 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. That's, you know what I mean? Who's more dedicated than that? Who's put more time in than me?
Without upgrading the...
But I would also love to see our mental health thing take a really massive kick off. You know, I feel like, as if you're saying, there's already other gyms emulating what we're doing. You know, they're already doing what we're doing and helping people. Like, it's always been that way. You know, I love to give back, and I feel like that what we're doing there's such a special thing, and other gyms are seeing that and taking inspiration from it and doing the same thing themselves. And that's another thing that I would love to see take off. I'd love to keep these Sunday mornings growing and growing and growing. And struggles that I've encountered since going my own way and opening my own gym. Financial struggles, stress with me partner, missed countless hours with me children, missed time I'll never get back. Put every single penny I've got into this and more again every other week. You know, stress, missing bills and payments of my own bills to try and put everything into this place. Feeling like people's opinions of me change. Losing friend circles that I was once in to try and do this for myself and to benefit my family and try and do other things like that. I feel like that's changed a lot of people's views of us, the amount of sleep I've lost, the late nights, early mornings, the lethargic body, you know, the wear and tear on my body, injuries, training I've missed on my own, like, in my own schedule, name it, you know, like obviously like pressure, stress, endless. But in the same regards of the, let's say, of the scales, that's all that side of it. On the positives, massively trump the cons. The pros are way higher. I've gained so many more friends in this from this side of life. I've also got so many new students, members, part of the family. I've also gained finally like a career, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's the first time in my life. I'm 32-year-old now, and I feel like it's the first time in my life where I actually feel like I've got a purpose. Like, so for me, what I've lost and all the negatives, I've gained so much more on other sides of it, you know, and I feel like this is now my reason why for everything I do. If I was left in the same position again, I would do the same thing again over and over and over again until the day I died, because the pros just outweigh the cons so much more. Exile, bitch. Exile Jiujitsu on Instagram and YouTube. Check us out. Come down for a drop-in session, or if you want to become a member, drop Cal Pacino MMA a message on Instagram, slide into DMs, come be part of the team, come be part of the family. Let's go.